Good morning, handymen and women. So sorry I didn't get a journal entry video done yesterday. It was kind of a crazy day. Started off the day, there was a brand new request sitting in my inbox for a rental house that the owner is selling. And there's a code box on it from the company, like an electronic entry code box for the key. And I guess they lost the code for the shackle, or it was broken some way or another, but they couldn't get the shackle off. So they needed me to go cut it off for them. So I went ahead and did that like super early in the morning. That's $125, which is my general trip fee right there. It took an hour almost exactly to drive to the job, take the box off, and deliver it to the property manager. So pretty simple to see right off the bat, $125 an hour first thing in the morning. And then after that, I got an emergency call, so I had to cancel a couple jobs. And the emergency call was this nice couple up in the foothills, really nice area of town in a condo. All their electric went off. They said they heard a loud pop, and then all the electricity in the house was gone. And they went to the circuit breaker panel because they could smell like a nasty burning electronic smell coming from the circuit breaker panel. But it was painted shut, so they couldn't even try to mess with the breakers, which luckily they didn't, because you really shouldn't be a tenant or a homeowner probably shouldn't be touching anything after there's a loud pop and smell of smoke coming from a breaker panel. So that was an emergency, so I canceled a couple jobs, drove over there real quick. The panel was painted shut with like 3 layers of paint, and that's because most of these property management companies, they tend to have $1 a square foot painter, and that includes the paint, that includes materials. So these guys, if they're doing like a little 1,200 square foot condo, they're charging $1,200 and they're paying for the paint. Problem is they use cheap paint, they water it down, they paint all over the outlet covers, they paint all over the doorknobs and everything. It's a mess. So I got it opened up. And man, it was bad. The actual bus bars were melted to the breakers. I don't know what happened there. But long story short, that would require a licensed electrician, and I'm not a licensed electrician. And I take my business very seriously, and I don't go doing work that I'm not legal to do. I'm going to be, I think I've mentioned this before, but I'll be getting my contractor's license pretty soon. I've bought the books, I've done the background check, I've done a practice test, I'm going to be testing soon. And I'm not going to mess around with that. That's a good deal once I get that license. So just a little word of advice for y'all. Just don't do stuff that you're not legal to do. There's other work out there. And meanwhile, you can work on your contractor's license. So once that job was done, basically my day was over because I had my jobs scheduled early in the day. And I was planning on working on this channel actually later in the day. So I went home, and then realized I had forgotten that the day before, when I didn't have my schedule or my calendar or anything with me, the day before, I had agreed to show up at somebody's house at 4:30. This would have been the day before yesterday, that I should have arrived yesterday at 4:30. Luckily, I got a reminder from the property manager simply because he was calling me to tell me that the tenant found a couple other things that needed to be worked on that he was adding to the list, and he had just got off the phone with her and said, hey, I know you're going to be going to this place today. So thank God that happened. Really try not to schedule. It's my general rule, and I didn't follow it this time. Try not to schedule with people when you don't have your calendar with you. Just tell them that you'll schedule with them this evening or tomorrow morning so that you can write that down as soon as it happens. So I jumped up and ran over to that one, and it was actually oddly a very similar issue. The living room had no power, and then one outlet in the bathroom had no power. It was a GFCI outlet, and the test and reset buttons weren't working. However, there was no power applied to it. Like neither of the wires going in had any power coming in. Circuit breaker panel, again, was painted shut. Same company, exact same thing, probably the same painter. He just slaps it over everything. So I had to cut all that loose, get into the breaker panel, nothing to be done in there. Checked all the outlets. It was a weird one because usually when I have a string of outlets that are not working, I can typically, if I open up every outlet, or if I use my tester especially, that's really nice when I have my tester with me. But I was in, so like right now I'm in my 𝗨𝗏𝗧𝗏, it's my wife's car basically, but I don't have AC in my van, so whenever I can, I'll just throw some ladders and a few hand tools in here and I'll take this. But, so I didn't have all the proper tooling with me, but I had enough, and I had my multimeter. And usually I can find an outlet where there's power coming in but not going back out, and just fix the wiring, which is, you don't have to have an electrician's license to do that. That doesn't, it's under $1,000 and doesn't require a permit, and that's the standards according to the Arizona Registrar of Contractors right here in Arizona. That's what they told me. So couldn't find the problem. I'm gonna have to bring all of my gear back with me, my outlet tester and whatnot, on the next trip and figure that out. So that took up my evening, didn't make any money on that. So yesterday was not an extremely profitable day, but I've got a lot of other big things going on right now that are not bringing in money today, but will be later. So I'm investing a lot of time into that while things are a little slow. And speaking of being slow, things have picked back up. If y'all are following me, I talked to some property managers because I was worried that, well, I wasn't worried really. I was worried in terms of, if the case is that they found another handyman who's a little cheaper than me that they're testing out, that means I have less work and I got to keep myself and my son busy. So the solution was going to be to go find more property managers, which is a very doable thing on short notice. I ended up accidentally getting another one back. That's a whole other story. I'm going to tell y'all someday. Maybe I'll create a series called Handyman Drama. But a company I worked for about 2 years ago and then stopped working for completely about 2.5 years ago. Anyways, it looks like I'm back on board with them. I hope not in a full-time fashion, because honestly, I don't have, they're a big company. They kept me busy 7 days a week, 10 hours a day. It was insane when I was working with them, and I don't have the manpower to deal with that these days. But, so, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so I called some property managers and the response was the same. One of them even literally said, no, we love you. So there aren't any other handymen that are taking work away from me at the moment, so it seems. It's just been a slow week, and this was actually across different property management companies. It was a slow week, and that's just a seasonal thing that'll happen. This is the busy season, and now all my move-outs are coming in. I've got 2 of them to go look at today. I may do 1 of them, or I may just inspect them. But what I'm going to do now, I'm really excited, is I realized I haven't ever shown y'all a move-out beginning to end. When I kind of started this channel, I was giving you the most important info I could give you as soon as I could give it, because I wasn't really trying to make a big channel out of it. I just wanted to get info out there so that guys who were trying to do what I was doing could be successful at it. Because it's not an easy industry if you don't know the ins and outs. So now I've got these 2 move-outs. I seem to have a little time because we're not overwhelmed with work at the moment. I'm going to have to find a video editor because that's just not really up my alley. I may have to learn. But what I'm going to try to do is make y'all a nice, big, long video that's going to show you literally every single step along the way, from receiving the request for the move out all the way through invoicing, all the tips and tricks that I've learned, all the ways that I've come up with to make it more efficient, the ways I've come up with to make it more profitable, the software that I use to essentially give them line-itemed tasks that they can approve or deny line item by line item, which comes in real handy, because generally they send you a list and they just want you to do what's on the list. So I found out over experimentation for the last few months that I can increase my profits from property management move-outs. I can increase those quite dramatically simply by doing line-itemed estimates for the original work that they requested, and then also adding all of the extra stuff that I found. And it's just a simple matter of them reading through the list and clicking what they like and clicking what they don't. So I just arrived at Home Depot. I'm gonna head in and pick up a ceiling fan. My first job is like 45 minutes away. It's just a simple ceiling fan. Apparently an electrician already did the troubleshooting, but he doesn't replace ceiling fans, so that's where we come in. You guys have a great day. I'm going to do a part 2, maybe even a part 3 today. I'm going to try to do a bigger video this evening announcing some new stuff that we're doing. But I'm excited. Business is going good. I hope y'all are out there killing it.